Okay, so this is the review for October 29th through November 1st. Not the best week. I definitely could have done better on some of these days where I just took setups that weren't as clean, didn't wait for fair value gaps to be formed on some of them. So I could do a lot better next week for sure. But this is the Tuesday candle, so before that is what we look like. We consolidated for 3 days basically. And we had an inside candle the day before. So I was looking for some type of expansion here because Monday, yesterday, consolidated. Before New York, we had not too much movement. We came back into this gap right here. That's the weekly opening gap. And I wanted to see if we were going to go bullish or bearish. I didn't quite know. We were still very low on the movement. I did see a divergence here, and then it gave a fair value gap to the downside. So I did have a limit order here. And I thought maybe it's one of those days where it just expands one way. That trade quickly got taken out, and there was divergence here on the 5 minute. And so we had this long wick that it closed, and I had the limit order right here. Stop loss was 13, so it's a little bit bigger than I would like. And then we just kept seeing more fair value gaps, and we kept getting bullish candles in our direction. So we had 2 bearish ones and then 2 bullish expansion ones, 1 bearish. And so all of these bearish candles here when it was consolidating, I was a little bit antsy and just moved my stop up, I believe, when it reached this high. So I moved my stop up to this low at this break, consolidated, made divergences, and basically consolidated from like 7:30 all the way up to 9:30 for 2 hours, and then we got this expansion up higher, close above this wick, third candle closed above it, and so I did have a limit order resting right here when price was up here. It came back down and it touched the high of this and kept going up. So I did get a little bit of a FOMO, and I did enter off of this order block here as a pyramid or something like this. And that one did take profit. I got to pyramid on that. And then it came back down again to my initial order block, and it did go, but this trade wasn't put on. This is the personal one where you can see the places I pyramided in with fair value gap here. So I entered off of this market execute off of this candle. I also got a pyramid in here, like I said. And so this day was an awesome pyramiding day. I want to say this trade was valid, and these winners made up for that one. So on Wednesday, I did see that we consolidated basically throughout the whole day. And at 6:30, we had this move down into this breaker block here. Went a little bit beyond it, took out the low right here, and then there was SMT. So I was looking at this, and I did see it close higher, and I debated on just market executing here, this as an order block basically. I did anticipate this or consider this. I ended up thinking about my role, waiting for a fair value gap to form, and so I had a limit order here after this candle closed. This was 21 points, so I put the stop loss here at 10 points, and it just never hit. It came back over here where I had the limit order opened. Truthfully, I was sleeping during this time, and I just didn't even bother to close the trade out, even though we did expand higher, 1, 2, and then this low was extremely close to our entry. So I had a entry off of this order block where it rejected. I saw signs of rejection. I put a limit order again there to see if it was going to go higher. Ended up not doing that. So I believe this mistake on this day was just not canceling this out after we had this another leg higher. So far for this week, this was the first trade that could have been avoided. This, I can see it working out. I did also pyramid in here that I see. After this fair value gap was created, on Thursday, we basically had this low that had liquidity. News came out, and we didn't really get a signal. We had this small divergence in here. So we did get fair value gaps here for expansion. And then we had this small fair value gap made after this divergence. So possible market execution entry there. Stop loss would have been pretty big at 22. Here would have been 16. So I'm not sure if I would have been favoring this as much if this was at 50%. Still like 13 points, and I never got up to it. So we kept expanding lower. We hit the 100% ADR already at this point. We got a divergence here during the PM session. Fair value gap in here. And this one almost went to take profit, but after getting to about 1.4R, about 13 points, 14 points, it just gave up and then stop was triggered. So I would say this wasn't the ideal. We did have liquidity here that was resting. We did have a big movement down already, so maybe this one could have been risked a little less. And on Friday, we had a very consolidated day. We took out this liquidity during the NFP, and that's shown throughout the indices here. When I was looking at this at the market open at 6:30, there was divergence, but I took an entry beforehand because, well, this is a case where I just jumped the gun. I went early. I was anticipating expansion, and so I believe that maybe this could create the order block, use that as support, and it did with the help of divergence. I did not get stopped out. So this trade hit TP for 3R, and then I pyramided in here twice, which is not ideal. We already did go 70 points, so that's a mistake on my part. If it expands that much already, don't ask it for more. And I believe I pyramided a little bit more than usual, not going the half size as the original. So this wasn't necessarily the best pyramid. I could have definitely avoided some of these losses that I took because this did stop out. So I believe I had this and this here. I entered off of this down candle. That was not a valid entry signal. This one, yes, we had this fair value gap. We didn't have divergence here, so it's not the best confluence. But this one, understandable. At the limit at the open, came back down, triggered. Thought this was going to use as support, but we already just expanded too far. Shouldn't be pyramiding like that.